Assalamualaikum. Hi everyone. Welcome to HSE. This is HSE Movement Part C, so make sure you've watched Part A and Part B. Right, this would be the last part for HSE Movement. I'm Dr. Lydia from Chemical Engineering. Let's have a look. The learning outcome would be the same as mentioned in Part B. We're looking at health, safety and environment movements and how HSE organization has been developed through the years, as well as due to events or tragedies that has happened. So for this part, we're looking at disasters in industries that has happened. I think in Part B, I threw in a question to all of you whether you can identify a very well-known disaster back in the 80s, right? And what was the impact of this disaster towards HSE development? Are you ready to answer that? Okay, so I don't know if you've been exposed to what happened in Bhopal. So Bhopal has always been used as an example of the most or the disaster that the world has never seen before. This was back in the 80s, where the conditions of working conditions in industries were really, really bad, and there were not many regulations yet back then. So, based on the Bhopal disaster, a lot of regulations came about. This disaster was severe because of the number of people who were involved, the impact, the deaths, number of deaths, and the severity of the condition. So let me tell you about Bhopal. Right, these are pictures from Bhopal. A lot of people died that night. What happened in Bhopal was a big chemical company came over to India. They built it was actually a pesticide plant. They built it in India because of the cheap labor. It was a US company, and they had a chemical called the MIC, the methyl isocyanide chemical. It is a very toxic chemical. If you are exposed to it, your skin would literally melt, your eyes would literally melt. So this was what happened in Bhopal. So it happened in 1984, where the gas leaked, and it leaked through the town while they were sleeping, and it became like a blanket over the town, and the people were inhaling this little gas, and they immediately had the effect. Some of them immediately died from the exposure. It says in the slide is 8,000 deaths, but to this date, thousands have died, 500,000 injured. 10 to 15 people are dying every month until this day from the exposure-related diseases and their complications. So until this day, which is 30 odd years already, there are genetic mutations, birth defects in future generations. So this is the effect that was felt based on Bhopal. So what happened was there was a leak, and the people were exposed. This was due to the management in that company. You can watch the film. There's a film already out on with regards to Bhopal. You can watch. There are hundreds of videos on YouTube. Try to have a look at it, understand what it's all about. So then you can understand how a lot of HSE regulations came about after Bhopal. So sometimes there needs to be a great event such as this that wakes people up. So unfortunately, a lot of people had to die for this, and even at this present time, 30 years later, the effect is still there. The children are still dying they have multiple diseases and so on and so forth. That's Bhopal. There's also another industrial disaster that has always been a reference point when we talk about HSE. If you look at this picture, these are children that's already mutated. And if you look at these children, you know that they basically come from Europe. Okay, have you guessed? All right, this would be Chernobyl, right? My picture is probably not showing the title here. It says Chernobyl Legacy. You can look it up on YouTube as well. There's a lot of videos on this. So this is another disaster that happened in Chernobyl, what was Russia before. It happened in 1986. And people of Chernobyl were exposed to radioactivity 100 times greater than the Hiroshima bomb, right? This was actually a nuclear reactor disaster, and it's the worst so far, and hopefully none will match it. 300 dead, this is not true, it's this more. And a lot of economic cost as well. Of course, as you seen just now, birth defects, 5 to 10 times higher thyroid cancer among children, 2 to 4 times higher rates of leukemia, 27 cities. Can you imagine 27 cities? That's a lot of cities. 2,600 villages were evacuated. Actually, now this place is ground zero. There's nothing left. The people are not living in this place because of the radioactive is still there. It is still present. So everyone has been evacuated from the place. So what happened was on 25th April, the reactor Chernobyl 4 was getting prepared for testing, and some people knew that the reactors were very unstable at low power settings. So most of the time when you analyze disasters, you will find that there's someone somewhere who already knew or maybe have reported, but nothing was done, right? As is in what happened in Bhopal. So this is Chernobyl. So you can read here that the reactor was releasing fission products to the atmosphere, so you know what's going to happen next. Of course, there'll be an explosion. This was the reactor before the accident, and this was after the accident, right? So when it happened, about 800,000 men were involved with the cleanup operations. Now, mind you that at this time, there has never been a nuclear disaster. So people did not realize that when a nuclear disaster happens, there's a lot of radioactivity around. The men who came to clean up, well, what do you think happened to them? They're all gone now, right? The cleanup workers have so far died because of the exposure during that time. This was the condition then. This is the condition now. So if you are in Chernobyl now, you need to be wearing overalls because the whole place is already filled with radioactive. So you see, you can't reverse an industrial disaster. There's always something that lingers on until this very day. The effect of that one disaster event, right? These are probably scientists taking samples. And mind you, not only people were affected, the flora and fauna around Chernobyl are also mutated, right? As you can see, this sunflower, it has been mutated. Insects, animals. Look it up, read through about Chernobyl and Bhopal. So the important thing that you must capture based on this topic is that how industrial disasters happen and how it changed HSE movements in the world, right? These are also some other examples that you can look up that I put here. This is just to show you the environmental pathway of human radiation exposure. Now, if you think about Chernobyl just now, there's actually nowhere for you to run away from radioactive. It can enter you through inhalation, ingestion when you eat animals or products or fish and dairy, anything that's been exposed, and you can get the effect, right? So the impact is very severe. Okay, so I've put some questions here. Name a recent industrial disaster. I'm sure you can have a look at recent disasters, just like the new movie that came out, I think, about a few years back on the ExxonMobil disaster, right? And how animals and the environment around the Mexico Gulf has never really recovered, right? There are a lot of marine animals that has been mutated because of the disasters. So disasters keep on happening. So why does this happen when we have HSE regulations? Right, try to answer that. Discuss the implications of a disaster towards businesses, right? For companies who go through a disaster, usually they will close shop. They won't be able to, because their reputation is tarnished. They won't be able to continue with their business, especially when it's really big companies, right? Do disasters in the past and recent disasters give the same impact, right? Try to discuss this with your friends. You may come out in the quizzes or in the test, and I'll give you some tips on the answers in some other videos. Some wrap-up questions. Explain how HSE was developed through the years. So this would be wrap-up questions for the whole topic of HSE movements. What are the important aspects of today's HSE development and approach? What would the points be? The important aspects, yeah? What are the roles of engineers and technologists as employees? What do you think your roles are when you become an engineer, or you become a technologist, or you become an employee of in a company, in an industry? What would your roles be towards HSE, right? Okay, so we've covered the learning outcome for this topic. Try to go through again, look through references on Bhopal and Chernobyl, learn about what really happened and why HSE movements are so strong when a disaster happens, and why does it keep on happening, right? Okay, as usual, everyone stay safe. And if you have any questions, please look me up on Open Learning. And this has been brought to you by the UTP HSE MOOCs team. Good luck, all the best, and see you soon.